Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's Coffee with Craig, where we talk about all things firearms, firearms policy, politics, culture, media, you name it. We're talking about it right here on Coffee with Craig. So please take a moment, like and share the program so that your friends can join in the conversation. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook, and in both cases, make sure you hit the notification button. That way, you'll be notified as soon as we go live, and you can participate in the live chat as the program is going on. Also, visit fpcgear.com. That's fpcgear.com. It is the place to go to find all of your cool Pro 2A swag. T-shirts, coffee mugs, hoodies, stickers, you name it. We have new designs that we're putting up all the time. So even if you have been there in the last week or so, make sure you go back and check it out. The best part, though, is that every dollar that you spend goes right back into the fight for right to keep and bear arms. So you can support the Second Amendment and you can look good doing it. That's fpcgear.com. All right. Well, we are just days away from the California Legislature going back into session. And we all know that there is no time when Californians are less safe than when the California Legislature is in session. In particular, right now. Now, I know, and we've talked a little bit about, some of the laws that have already been put in place, but folks, it's important for you to understand that if you think it can't get any worse, trust me, it can. And that's what I want to talk with you about today, is some of the things that we're, I don't necessarily want to say likely to see, but we could possibly see in the upcoming legislative session here in the state of California. Now, mind you, California already has the top rating, the number one rating with the Giffords Law Center, meaning we are the anti-gun state. We have surpassed New Jersey. We have surpassed Hawaii. We are considered by those who hate our rights the most to be the quote-unquote have the best gun control package. So just so you know exactly where we are when we go to talk about could things get worse. So let's talk a little bit about some of the things that we could possibly see. One of them is going to be a tax. And what kind of tax are we talking about here? We're talking about a tax on ammunition. Now, we've already seen something like this in the California State Legislature that was proposed last year. And interestingly enough, this ammo tax did not go very far. Didn't go very far at all. In fact, it wound up getting held in committee. Now, taxes in the state of California require a 2/3 vote. So it'll be very, very interesting to see if they're able to garner 2/3 of members of both houses of the legislature in order to pass this ammo tax. Why do they want to pass ammo taxes? Well, because they've never seen a tax that they didn't like. But specifically, they want to make it harder and more expensive for individuals to be able to own and purchase firearms. That's really about it. The next thing that we're likely to see is even more onerous and burdensome restrictions on concealed carry permits. Now, last year we saw that they put in an additional training requirement. There was already a training requirement, but they added to it. In other words, they put a minimum number of hours that you had to have, that they had to have on it. And the worst part about that is that what we've seen in states where have passed laws where they have those minimums, we find that the amount of training that individuals take actually goes down, because whenever a government puts a minimum on it, they think they're putting a floor when in fact it winds up becoming a ceiling. And so people just wind up thinking, oh, well, they must mean that's all I really need to take. So that's all that people generally wind up taking. Well, we don't even know. The other thing they added was that you had to take a shooting test. Didn't tell you what that test needed to be or anything like that, but you had to take a shooting test. Now, once again, most CCW instructors require a shooting test anyway. Most sheriffs require it. But for some reason, people who have absolutely no idea what they're doing decide they want to include. They want to now make that law. And the worst part is that we still have to wait and see exactly what that looks like when the California Department of Justice, which, by the way, we all know Javier Becerra doesn't really care about justice or the right to keep and bear arms. But we have to wait and see exactly what they mean by a quote-unquote shooting test. But who knows what the regulations are going to be? They could wind up actually passing law, putting some specific requirements on. They could increase the amount of training that you have to have. They could try to, like they're trying to do in New Jersey, they could put insurance requirements on it. There's no end to the sort of things. Because here's the thing, they realize they can't they can't outright ban concealed carry, right? It has to be discretionary. So you have to have the opportunity to be able to exercise your right. But they don't have to grant it. So now if they're going to go, if the courts were to deem that they had to legalize or they had to make California shall issue, well, they can add some restrictions on it that make it so restrictive that no one can either qualify or afford it. So look for some things along those lines, possibly being introduced here in the next couple of months. Also, ban on certain types of ammunition. This one is one of the most asinine ones to me, and it demonstrates a clear lack of understanding of what exactly it is that how exactly firearms work. For example, one of the things they're probably going to wind up trying to ban, which by the way they've already banned lead ammo for hunting, but one of the things they might in the end wind up doing is banning hollow points. Now, you and I know this is actually safer ammunition because it reduces penetration, right? But they don't care. They see these because these are different style of bullets. They consider these to be cop killers, even though they clearly are not. But anyway, so this is something, this is one of the things that we could very easily wind up seeing. As well as new bans on certain types of firearms. Ban on common firearms like semi-automatic handguns or rifles like the Ruger 1022. Now, because this is a rimfire, right, the 1022, it's not included in the assault weapons ban. Well, guess what? There's been legislation introduced that actually include that. Also, firearms like the Mini 14. There's been legislation that did include those, but they realized just how unpopular, how crazy that was. So they would eventually wind up just going with center fire semi-automatic rifles. The other thing is how about an out and outright just ban on semi-automatic handguns? Now this is important because we already have the roster, the California Not Unsafe Handgun roster, which is a pseudo ban on the sale of new model semi-automatic handguns. But keep in mind, their goal is it's incremental. First, they want to go after semi-automatic rifles with detachable magazines. And then they want to go after, then they're going to want to eventually just go after semi-automatic rifles. And then they're going to want to go after semi-automatic handguns. So their goal is, and eventually once they get semi-automatic handguns, then they're going to want to go after all handguns. And then they're going to have to go after all rifles. This is the sort of incrementalism. And so the next step in the line for them is going to be banning weapons in these particular areas. Folks, Gavin Newsom, he's already demonstrated. See, one of the things about this, about what we come to know now about Gavin Newsom is he will sign anything. Anything anti-gun that comes before him, he will sign, right? He doesn't care whether or not it actually works. He doesn't care whether or not it violates rights. If it comes to him, he will sign it. He has made that abundantly clear. That's why it's important that you guys work with us. And if I keep telling you it's important that we're part of the game. The first thing is I know you don't believe this, but we have actually had some success with members of the legislature in actually keeping some bills from getting to his desk. In some cases, from the laws even being proposed. But we need your support. We need your support to be there, knocking on doors, talking with legislators. We need you to support our legislative program. We need you to be a part of it. So the first thing you need to do is, if you haven't already joined FPC, you need to join FPC. It's real simple. Just go to joinfpc.org. It's joinfpc.org. If you've already joined FPC, well, then you need to make sure you're on you probably already are on our email list. But if you're not on our email list, make sure you add, maybe you decided, I'm getting too many emails from FPC. No, you need to get on the email list because you need to get the alerts when these bills are being proposed so that you can go and make your voice heard on these pieces of legislation. So make sure you get on our email list. And then, this is the final thing, tell your friends to do the same. Please encourage your friends to do the same. There are a ton of people in the state of California that are pro-gun, that are not actively engaged the way you are. You need to help them by sharing this video. You need to help them by sharing our Facebook page, our Instagram page, our YouTube channel, by sharing our webpage. You need to share it with everybody that you know, letting them know that the Firearms Policy Coalition is the home in the fight for civil rights. And folks, as I always say, if we do not use them, we will lose them. And all right, folks, that's what we're going to be up to this year. We hope that you'll stand with us. We hope that you'll support us. We hope that you'll encourage your friends to do the same. Once again, I'm Craig DeLuz with the Firearms Policy Coalition. Thank you for watching.
If you like our videos, follow, subscribe, like, and share.